You got the raise, you upgraded the zip code, you're doing everything right. So why does it still feel like you're falling behind? Because your neighborhood is spending your raise before you even see it. I'm Ajaz. I have a master's in finance, and today we're talking about a wealth trap most people call making it. If you've ever moved somewhere nicer and wondered why your bank account didn't follow, stay with me, because we're about to break down exactly what happened to it. Here's the number that floored me when I first ran it. 43.5 million American households are currently cost-burdened, meaning they're spending more than 30% of their income just on housing. That's not a housing crisis stat. That's a you chose the wrong zip code stat. And the wild part is, most of these people thought they were making a smart move. Better school district, safer streets, higher property value, the American Dream checklist. What nobody told them was that the zip code doesn't just change your rent. It changes everything you spend, every single month. So let's talk about the Morales family. Built from real spending data, their story is playing out in tens of millions of American homes right now. The Morales family moved. They left a perfectly functional neighborhood where they were paying $1,800 a month and upgraded to a good neighborhood at $2,900 a month. The $1,100 difference, they knew about that. They budgeted for it. They felt good about it. What they did not budget for was everything else, because the $1,100 is just the base payment. The neighborhood charges you a whole lot more than that. Start with groceries. In their old zip code, there was an Aldi 2 blocks away. In the new one, a Whole Foods. Sounds like an upgrade. It is not. Consumer Reports data shows Aldi runs about 33% cheaper than Whole Foods across core staples. That's not a rounding error. That is $400 a month disappearing from the Morales family's budget just because the good neighborhood doesn't have a budget grocery chain. The local grocery store is the single fastest way to tell what price tier your neighborhood puts you in. Check it right now on Google Maps. The nearest grocery tells you everything. Then there's the HOA. The national average HOA fee sits at $291 to $300 per month. But the Morales family didn't move into an average neighborhood. They moved into a nice one. Upscale metro HOAs routinely run $700 to $1,000 a month. That's another $200 to $400 in monthly costs that nobody put on the comparison sheet. And here's the part most people completely miss. 71% of HOA managers planned fee increases in 2024. Once you're inside an HOA, you cannot opt out of the increases. A $300 per month HOA growing at just 3% per year becomes $542 per month by year 20. Total cost over that period? Around $97,000. At a flat rate, it would have been $72,000. That HOA ratchet alone costs you an extra $25,000. For the privilege of someone telling you what color you can paint your front door. Property taxes hit next, and this one is brutal because it's invisible until it isn't. There's a real story out of Kalamazoo, Michigan that I want you to sit with. 2 homes, same price, same general area, different side of a municipal boundary line. Over 12 years, one family paid $28,368 more in property taxes than the other. That's $2,364 a year. Just for landing on the wrong side of an invisible line on a map. The Morales family, in a premium zip code, is eating roughly that same kind of delta, at $200 a month. Now we get to the one nobody wants to admit. Social pressure spending. The Joneses effect is not a theory, it is a documented financial force. A 2024 LendingTree study found that 63% of people who spend to keep up with peers went into debt doing it. 62% of Gen Zers specifically reported feeling financial pressure to keep up with wealthier friends. And when you move into a nice neighborhood, every single person around you becomes a reference point. Their cars, their renovations, their kids' activities, their dinner parties. The Morales family is spending an extra $300 a month, conservatively, just existing inside a social environment that silently sets a higher floor for normal. That's not a character flaw. It's human psychology operating exactly as designed, in an environment that was never built for your budget. Round it out with $200 a month in appearance, upkeep, and the general cost of maintaining the standard the neighborhood expects, landscaping, the right car wash, keeping the house showing ready, and the total monthly premium for living in a good neighborhood comes to $2,400 a month. Not $1,100, $2,400. Now let's run the math on what that actually cost you over time. $2,400 a month, invested instead at 8% compound annual return over 20 years. That's $1,413,648. The Morales family didn't lose that money to a bad stock pick. They didn't lose it in a market crash. They handed it to their zip code, voluntarily, 1 month at a time. And even if you strip it back to just the base rent difference, just the $1,100 they knew about, that alone compounds to $647,922. So the hidden costs, the grocery upcharges and HOA fees and social pressure spending nearly double the total damage. The address didn't just cost them a nice house, it cost them a generational wealth event. Let's talk about schools, because this is where the trap gets sneaky. The number one reason middle-class families overpay for zip codes is schools, and the data on that is staggering. Brookings Institution research shows that homes near top-tier school districts cost $205,000 more on average. Realtor.com puts the price premium at 49% for homes in the highest-rated school districts. Families are paying $200,000 over market specifically to land in the right school catchment area. But here's what those families don't know about the ratings they're chasing. Great Schools is the rating system most parents use to evaluate schools before buying. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, sounds objective, sounds like a quality measure. In 2019, Chalkbeat published an in-depth analysis showing the Great Schools rating system mathematically favor whiter, more affluent schools, and that those ratings correlate far more strongly with neighborhood income and demographics than with actual educational quality or teaching effectiveness. In other words, you might be paying $200,000 extra not for a better education, but for a number that reflects how wealthy your neighbors already are. The Cincinnati case makes this concrete. 2 homes, 2 miles apart. One sits in a Great Schools 8/10 district and sells at $217 per square foot. The other is in a 3/10 district at $137 per square foot. The other is in a 3/10 district at $137 per square foot. A 58% gap in price per square foot, driven entirely by that rating. Not by the quality of the teachers, not by graduation outcomes. By a score that, according to the research, largely measures who lives around the school, not what happens inside it. That is a $200,000 decision families are making based on a metric that may not mean what they think it means. Now, we're not saying all zip code premiums are wrong. Some of them are completely justified. We're not here to tell you to move into a dangerous neighborhood or put your kids in a school that's failing them. What we are saying is this: you need to be able to quantify the benefit. If you can only feel it, it might be status, not safety. Real crime data matters, not vibes. Poll neighborhood scout numbers. Compare actual incident rates. If a neighborhood is genuinely safer by the data, that's a real benefit with real dollar value. Same goes for schools. Look past the Great School score and check actual graduation rates, college enrollment data, and teacher retention. Same goes for commute. If the good neighborhood cuts 45 minutes off your daily drive, calculate the true cost, miles times fuel and wear, plus your time at whatever hourly value you assign yourself. That math sometimes justifies the premium. Sometimes it does the opposite. The test is simple. Can you put a number on it? If yes, factor it in honestly. If you're paying a premium because it feels like you made it, that's the trap. So here's a framework for evaluating any zip code before you sign. 5 factors. Call it the neighborhood ROI calculator. Factor 1, school quality beyond the Great School score. Pull actual graduation rates, AP enrollment, college acceptance data. Then subtract your commute cost delta. If the better school zone adds 30 minutes each way to your drive, run those miles and that time. Does the school quality survive the math? Factor 2, crime rate from real data. Not your gut reaction to how the neighborhood looks. Neighborhood Scout gives you incident data by category. Pull it. Factor 3, your estimated monthly social pressure spending. Be honest. What do your neighbors drive? What are the kids' activities costing? What do dinner conversations in the zip code cost you per month? Factor 4, local grocery and service price premium. Open Google Maps right now. What's the nearest grocery store? Price a standard basket there versus the Aldi or Lidl in the next zip code. The delta is real money leaving every month. Factor 5. HOA trajectory. Not the current rate, the future rate. Ask for 5 years of HOA meeting minutes before you buy. Look for the trend. A $300 HOA at 3% annual growth hits $542 by year 20. And you are locked in. If your neighborhood scores net negative on 3 or more of those 5 factors, you're not buying safety. You're not buying quality education. You're buying a status symbol on a monthly payment plan. And here is the stat that closes it all. 36% of Americans earning over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. These are not people who got the wrong job. These are not people who failed to get ahead. They got the raise. They upgraded the zip code. And their neighborhood spent the raise for them silently, automatically, every single month. Through grocery premiums and HOA fees and property tax lines and the invisible social pressure of living around people who spend more than them. The zip code didn't build their wealth, it consumed it. So here's the question I want you to sit with. If you could move back to a slightly less prestigious address and invest the $2,400 difference every month, would you do it for $1.4 million? Most people say yes in theory. Almost nobody does it in practice. Because the neighborhood is not just a financial decision, it's an identity decision. And until you separate those two things, the zip code will keep winning. Tell me in the comments, what's one hidden cost your zip code added that you didn't see coming? The grocery bill, the HOA, the social pressure spending, what hit you? Drop it below. Because I think the real numbers people are living are even more wild than the ones we showed today. If this hit close to home, hit that like button and share it with someone who just upgraded their neighborhood and has no idea what it's actually costing them. And make sure you're subscribed, because next week, we're getting into something that will reshape how you think about your car payment, your credit score, and the one number most people never check that's quietly destroying their net worth. The address you live at should be a tool for your life, not the reason your retirement doesn't exist.